Hi, my name is Dr. David Jennis, Clinical Director and Public Relations Director for Great Mind Counseling and Wellness Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am delighted today to bring you some very exciting news. We are gearing up to open up our second location in San Bernardino, California, as we've developed a wraparound outpatient model for adults with severe mental illness. Our model is showing high efficacy in terms of supporting these adults and managing their symptoms and decreasing the recidivism rate of readmitting into med-surg hospitals. We are delighted to bring this service to San Bernardino County, and our doors will open formally on March 1st, 2025.
Not pretty? Okay. And then the green is what?
Christmas tree.
Christmas tree. Okay. So what about the red though?
I used brown for the house, and I should have painted the house red instead, so the door would match.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you Danielle's stocking, right? Everybody. You see it? What you guys think? Is snowman here? So what color are you gonna use for it and why?
I'm gonna leave him white.
You're gonna leave it white?
Yeah.
But why?
There's a snowman.
It's a snowman?
Yeah.
Okay. Any question? Because we're done with the processing part of the activity today. Any questions?
Take our sparking home.
Yes, you can take it with you because tomorrow is Christmas.
So you've already had the pleasure of being introduced to me, but now it's my pleasure to introduce to you the owner and executive director of Great Mind Counseling and Wellness Center, Cantrall. Mai is the heartbeat of Great Mind, and she's here to say a few words to all of you.
Okay. So again, thank you, Dr. Janice, for the introduction. I wanted to, first I'm going to let everybody know that my background is social work. I'm a social worker. I wanted to say that we practice here over at Great Mind from a Maslow hierarchy of need perspective. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that most clients come in here because they are severely ill. We usually start with the physiological part of the treatment plan. And usually they navigate between safety and physiological. The safety, usually they're homeless, they've been raped, they're so severely ill and patient that we have to address these issues here. So the dilemma that we had here is that when we look at the Fury or therapy model, that insurance payers are really ready to reimburse, really this is not part of the equation. So we have to sometimes eat the cost. And because for the welfare of our patient, we wanted them, and Dr. Janice can talk about that too, help them with the safety and the physiological part before we move to the other stages of the therapy process. Usually the self-actualization is not even, we don't even get there. Our baseline start with these two at least. And this is very important, these two sides, because here also there's a lot of free case management that we do, housing and help them with insurance.
I don't know, get some of their identification.
Social security card. So we decided because of that, we needed to create a nonprofit, which is called Helping Hand of Great Minds. And that's where usually this part comes, and then it combined with our therapy.
Hi, Juliere. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for just agreeing to participate in this conversation with me. We appreciate it.
It's an honor.
So I'm curious, what was it that brought you to Great Mind Counseling?
I am in a I'm in a program called SOT, Supportive Outpatient Therapy.
Okay.
And my caseworker referred me to this program, this great program.
All right. So, SOT, so that is supportive outpatient therapy,
Yes.
and that is a state-funded program, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So, at Great Mind Counseling, we really pride ourselves in working with a few of our state programs because they just allow us an opportunity to meet others like yourself where we can step in and help provide a certain level of support. So we're very grateful for having those relationships with our state partners. So Adam, how long have you been participating in services with us?
Oh, it's been about 7 years.
7 years. So what brought you initially to Great Mind Counseling?
I was feeling very down and very suicidal. It's been about like in and out hospital, being inpatient, almost every other month. But now I haven't been there in now 3 years.
And that is incredible, Adam. That you have been able to keep yourself out from going inpatient, where there was a time you were going inpatient how many times per week?
Almost 2 times.
2 times a week sometimes, because it was almost like you were going like in and out of the hospital. It was nonstop.
Yeah.
And so what are some of your diagnoses? What are your primary diagnoses that we've been supporting you with in terms of symptom management?
Borderline personality disorder, Asperger's syndrome, anorexia nervosa, and panic disorder.
So those are some heavier diagnoses in regards to symptoms that you've had to learn how to manage in a safe and positive way. From your participation in services at Great Mind Counseling, what do you believe has really contributed to you being able to do so well here and managing those diagnoses?
Oh, here, what's been helping me with my diagnosis here at Great Minds is like the counseling, and then the amazing staff we have here, and the activities, and then going day treatment.
Here at Great Minds, we try our best to focus on the client mental health first before anything else. If that means that we got to eat up the cost, sometimes we do, because our goal is that stabilization, which helps state policymakers too. So I hope that watching these videos, if some policymakers are there or insurance payers, it's going to enlighten them to understand that sometimes bringing a client, a referral to Great Mind, there's a long-term cost to it for economically.
So let's first, look at the mental illness statistics throughout the country. So when we examine the national mental health statistics, quite surprisingly, we find out that Nevada is one of the top 10 states in the U.S. with the highest prevalence rate of mental illness. And that is also coupled with the lowest rates of access to mental health treatment as well. So based on the data, when you look at the data from the Mental Health of America institutions, what do these statistics convey? Well, these national statistics basically reiterate the relative importance of mental health issues in the state of Nevada, and also the role that the state can play at the grant level to address this peculiar issue, which is unequivocally a dire predicament for the state of Nevada, right?
Well, I think this statistic is dismal. And what it's basically saying is that within the state of Nevada, we have some very ill individuals yet there's no access to care in which these individuals can go to in order to work on feeling better. And so this is certainly an opportunity for us to assess how we can make a difference in the lives of our community members.
I came to Great Minds because I was homeless. And I had gotten arrested for an actual incident that was an accident. And my knee had gone out and I lost my footing. And the police officer was nearby. And I touched his arm to help balance myself out. And he said that I had assaulted him. So I ended up in jail for quite a while of time. And they took me out and they put me in Ross and Yale Hospital. And I was there for a few months. And then through the court,
Yeah.
the court had I was remanded to the court, and the court found a place for me to live, and through that whole process is how I stumbled upon you guys.
All right. Well, I'm so grateful to the state that you were referred to Great Mind Counseling, because you have brought so much to the different groups that we offer here in regards to your participation and how you interact with your peers here. And I just see the mutual benefit for yourself as well as for others in regards to having you here and be part of our family at Great Mind Counseling. Now, you're a member, I believe, of the LGBT community, and you identify as being a gay man. Can you speak to me a little bit about what your experience has been like at Great Mind being a member of the LGBT community?
My family here at Great Minds have been welcomed. It's an LGBT-friendly place. I really appreciate everybody's support here, from the clients to the staff to everybody. It's really, really, very heartwarming.
I appreciate you acknowledging and saying that it feels heartwarming. That's really one of the goals for us, is that each person that enters through our front door, we really hope to provide a welcoming, inclusive, accepting experience where individuals truly can be themselves. And it feels good as a provider, as a team member here, to have you say that you felt many of those things as far as being part of the LGBT community.
So let's talk about Nevada's mental illness problems, some highlights that we can present to the readers. Recently, according to a newsstand report, Las Vegas experienced a surge in mental health cases in 2024, which unequivocally reiterates a dire need for investment in mental health treatment and a need to provide increased access to mental health care in the valley. So more importantly, what this study show is that patients with severe mental illness do face a higher recidivism rate and are more likely to be rehospitalized. So hence the need for outpatient therapy in the valley.
Yeah, I appreciate Mai's perspective that she comes from a social work background. And I believe that really contributes to how you conceptualize our philosophy of care that then impacts how we deliver clinical services. And it's really rooted in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because it drives everything that we do initially upon meeting an individual or family. This is really where we're assessing from, so that we can determine what are the most prevalent needs that has to be met first before they can focus or have the emotional attunement to participate in formal clinical services.
When I was at Ross and Yale, they had determined that I was bipolar, and schizoaffective.
Okay, so those are two very heavy diagnoses.
Yeah.
And so how have you managed the symptoms associated with your diagnoses? What have you learned by participating in services here at Great Mind Counseling?
Well, I was put into your day program, um, which is 4 hours of treatment, 3 days a week. And through that treatment, it has taught me to learn how to facilitate my thoughts and my feelings in a better way. And some of them aren't such good thoughts. And you have helped me to be able to climb inside and deal with the things that I need to deal with. And that's it's so special to me because um, for some people, it's a long, long road. And I know that mine it felt like it's been long sometimes because of my inner struggles. But you helped me so much.
We all experience something.
Yeah.
We all experience anxiety, depression,
Yes.
loss and grief,
Yes.
trauma.
Absolutely.
And so we don't separate ourselves from those that we provide care for. People are just people, and we want individuals to feel welcome and to feel like they're not being judged for getting here and receiving a little help.
Thank you. It's wonderful. In 2015, I was diagnosed with West Nile and meningitis. My temperature went to 105.8, and it caused permanent brain damage.
Yes.
I later developed schizophrenia. I feel as a result of that because I did not have problems with that before. My mind is always going. But like I said before, EST really helps slow that down. And it really does. I feel great. I feel like without EST on a weekly basis, that monkey mind might start again and the voices come back.
When it comes down to the welfare cost of mental illness problems, obviously note that inpatient mental health treatment costs on average between $500 and $2,000 per day. And these kind of costs, as you can see from the data, poses a significant burden for the states if this crisis is not addressed effectively.
That's right. So from an economic perspective, having our community members admit through a med-surg hospital for mental health challenges is extremely costly. And what we have observed here is individuals who have severe mental illness, they have such a high recidivism rate of going in and out of these med-surg hospitals. They're being admitted through the emergency rooms, and they're causing this backup for admissions to occur where there are fewer beds available to address other medical needs for other community members. Now, what are some goals that we're currently working on with you today?
Some of the goals that I've been working on is staying out the hospital, which I've been doing very, very good at, with the help of all the staff and the help of all the peers here. The peers here are very supportive, and also my eating habits, and getting that in order, and working on and then being in day treatment.
We created this wraparound program that is really based on a philosophy of care where individuals' needs from the very ground level first need to be met, such as housing, food. So when is the next time that a patient is going to receive their meal? Having access to a shower, being able to have good hygiene. And, we really, from a Maslow's perspective, start there and recognizing the needs in which how we may be of assistance to support an individual moving forward where they can eventually have the mental capacity to focus. How many days per week do you participate?
3 days a week.
All right, 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So, um, 3 days a week for some people might be perceived as it being a lot. But how do you feel about being here? Because you do like half days, is that
I'm usually yes.
okay? So,
Usually till about 2 or 3, I guess.
okay, and is it like the amount of hours that you participate in clinical services? Does it feel positive to you?
Absolutely positive. It's made a big difference in my life. And it feels really good when I walk in the morning
Yes.
and everyone greets you and treats you like family. That is one of the best parts of it.
So I agree
It's
because
wonderful.
for me as well.
We have these wonderful workbooks that you have gotten for us. And I'm still learning in certain areas. Others are a little ahead of me and stuff. So, but I have to say that they're the most fantastic workbooks I've ever come across. And what I like about it is that you go over the work with us, and you go to each individual and you ask them questions about the topic, and you kind of climb inside for a few minutes, and I think that that's so incredible to watch you do your work.
You have decreased to eliminating your inpatient hospitalizations to 0 over the course of the last time you were in the hospital was 3 years ago. And that's incredible. That's incredible. And not to say that we haven't had some challenges clinically along the way, but you've been able to manage those challenges in a manner that has kept you out of the hospital. And I can tell you feel really good about that. And you really should pat yourself on the back because that's a huge W. That's a huge win. And, at Great Mind Counseling and on behalf of me, I'm just so grateful that you've allowed me to be part of your journey and to support you. One of historically a problem that adults with severe mental illness have is accessing services. And the reason why that has been such a challenge is because of transportation. The reality is, for many of these individuals, they don't have transportation and they don't know how to utilize public transportation where on their own they could make it to Great Mind Counseling and participate in services. So at Great Mind Counseling, we provide free transportation for all of our patients that may require assistance getting to and from their clinical services at Great Mind. And this is at our cost. Insurance companies don't pay for transportation. However, we recognize the need to help individuals get to and from Great Mind Counseling so that they can physically be available to participate in clinical services.
So in this study that we're going to publish, what is our main hypothesis? Well, we argue that if the wraparound therapy for patients with severe mental illness reduces the rehospitalization rates in the valley, then certainly there are economic gains and positive externalities that these kind of programs created by Dr. Janice provide, correct? So if that's the case, if these programs create these economic gains and positive externalities, then the state is required to step in as mean to minimize Medicaid expenses in the valley, but also to correct the underproduction that could arise or the underconsumption of mental health treatment that would arise due to a lack of state support for mental health facilities like Great Mind in the valley. Duration in the wraparound therapy program is significantly and positively associated with improvement in the psychological behavior of the patient. So that's what the data tells us. And that's a significant statistics. And it highlights the relative importance of Great Mind wraparound therapy program, because certainly it does lead to an improvement in the psychological behavior of the patients, proxy by the locus score. So here are some other statistics, some data regarding rehospitalization rates for our patients. So from 2008 to 2014, only 28% of the patients have been rehospitalized. So that's a great statistic. It again highlights, the relative importance of like the wraparound therapy program and its overall effectiveness in reducing rehospitalization rates in the valley.
So the clinical makeup for the patients that are treated at Great Mind Counseling, their level of service intensity is extremely high, and their needs are robust. And so this data is indicating that 71.19% were not rehospitalized from after the point of when they enrolled in services at Great Mind Counseling and started participating in our wraparound outpatient model. The statistics are just exceptional. They don't lie. And so this is the positive outcome of our model in regards to how we've been able to reduce the recidivism rate and eliminate for many of our patients altogether, having them go back into the hospital for mental health challenges.
For the population that we deal with, it's not realistic to have a client come in and say, okay, let's go to deal with your anxiety. It doesn't work that way in a real life. It's not possible. You have to deal with these issues. They bring that with them. Okay. So that's why Maslow hierarchy of needs is really part of Great Mind Counseling and Wellness and DNA. That's what we do. And hopefully we can export this to other states. And we're expanding to San Bernardino. And we're hoping that we're going to bring that model there because the need is there. I'm sure the need is in other states too. And we're going to try with San Bernardino to see how it goes. And then we can expand from there. But I would like any viewers or any policymakers or insurance payers who have stumbled through this video to understand that Great Mind DNA is part of the practice from the Maslow hierarchy of need perspective. We don't care if you get here, we don't care if your insurance pays for it or not. We're going to assess you from that perspective. And we're going to start by physiological safety. We don't even get there sometimes. We just stuck here. But at least when we reach these two goals, the baseline is there, and then we're okay with that. Whether we pay or not. We get paid or not.
What do we do? How do we address positive externalities? Well, this is textbook economics 101, right? It's through what? Subsidies, grants, right? Engaging in those kind of like activities to sort of what? Minimize the underconsumption, or if you want to say the underproduction of mental health treatments that would arise due to a lack of, state support.
People are just people, and that it's a privilege for us to be able to provide the care that we do to wonderful individuals just like yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, and thank you.
Thank you.